Well, hello, everybody. I'm Del Shores.
And I'm Emerson Collins, and you're watching The Del and Emerson Show.
Straight talk.
Real gay. Hello, everybody. Come on in, whether you're watching us on Facebook, on YouTube, or on Twitter. We have so much show today.
So much.
Obviously, we will get to the Georgia win, the white supremacy invasion of the Capitol. And if there's time after all of that, we'll talk about Call Me Kat and the Bridgerton gays, Kentucky conversion therapy, a hypochristian, a gay resort for sale in Oklahoma, gay bar that was vandalized, LGBTQ domestic violence, and a children's show about a big bendy penis, if we get there.
Well, you have my attention.
You know, and before we get to like the bonkers week, we need to talk about your set. Please show us what's happening back there.
Well, let me readjust it just a little bit. Okay, y'all have to see this. I now have an easy bake oven. Thank you to Rob and Victor. It just came today. And it was so funny because I was telling Del Dickey today about the time where I asked for an easy bake oven on Christmas, and my daddy got me a 22, and we went out target practice, and then I shot myself. So that was just a very eventful Christmas. So thank you, Rob and Victor. I'm going to make me some with a light bulb and all these accessories. It's so exciting. I finally have an easy bake.
I'm just very excited to see what food products result from this. I hope that Instagram and Facebook, you will demonstrate. You could be an easy bake chef, easy bake top chef.
I don't think top chef. I like that. An
top
easy
chef,
bake top shelf. Shelf. I said shelf.
I'd be an easy bake bottom chef. I'd be in the bottom every week. Bottom chef right here.
Well, I guess.
All right. Well, big news just happened, and I feel like you should share it.
Well, Trump has been banned permanently for life from Twitter. I'm just holding for applause. I just tweeted, yes, I just tweeted that the Twictator has been banned. He has fallen, y'all. He has fallen from grace.
Oh, maybe you, as Kelly said, maybe you could make an easy bake goodbye Trump cupcake or something.
It could be a dump Trump cake. A dump Trump cake. Remember those dump cakes we used to make?
Oh, I don't. I am not familiar. Oh, that's a Kelly.
No, I don't mean Kelly. Kelly and I did not bake together. I don't remember ever baking with Kelly. But with Rebecca. You know, like Cherry Dump Delight. Remember in Training Trash Housewife where you dump a bunch of fruit? It sounds like let me make you a dump cake. It sounds like it's made out of shit. It sounds like Minnie from the Hell Cake.
It sounds like that shit pie Katie Spencer carried over. Rob makes dump cakes.
Rob, thank you for my easy bake. That was so sweet. It's such a crazy gift, I have to tell you.
But, and as Douglas said, only 4 years too late. I mean, activists and organizers have been calling for Trump's account to be banned since before he was actually elected. But at least as he rides off into that horrible night, it will not be a forum for him to launch the Trump News Network or whatever. After years of retweeting white supremacists and random QAnon conspiracy theorists, they are the first of the social medias, I believe, to ban him permanently and forever. I hope he does that sad thing where he tries to make another account, and it's like pretending that it's not him so it doesn't get banned again, and he just keeps getting banned.
He will. He'll make
court cases. He keeps losing that election at courts. I want him to be banned repeatedly.
I have a prediction. He will be suing Twitter.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Please do. Jack has so much money over there.
Yeah.
Like, good luck. It's like Josh Hawley and that stupid and losing his book deal. That's not what the First Amendment is for. I'm sorry that you like talking on Twitter, but your right to have your free speech not infringed upon by the government means they can't keep you from speaking. You can walk outside your house and yell for anybody that you want to, say anything you want to, and not be arrested by the government for your free speech. It doesn't mean that any company has to provide you access to say those same things on anything that they own and run.
So he lost a book deal. I did not see that. I'm so happy.
Josh Hawley, Simon & Schuster yesterday pulled his book deal.
Good. Good.
Well, there's so much. Please feel free to share how you reacted to the stuff this week. Shall we do some kind of order? So let's start with Georgia.
Okay, Georgia.
Yeah. I mean, beyond thrilled, bonkers that both of them won by more than the 0.5% that would have triggered the automatic recount. I got to be honest, all the work we've done, everything, I thought it was a long shot. And the impressive work of Stacey Abrams, Fair Fight, so many other organizers on the ground that she's recognized to register like 40,000 new voters since the election and then carry this over. I mean,
let's not forget to thank Donald Trump, because I really feel like he had something to do with a lot of people not voting. So, he has just wrecked the Republican Party. It is in shambles right now. So, yeah.
I hope so.
But I don't know about you, Emerson, but I was like, oh my God. And then I thought, it's not going to happen. It was just like the election. And then all of a sudden, it's those counties that come in late, those big counties around Atlanta and Augusta, I think not Augusta, but Savannah. And boy, when those started, it was like, and I love it. They also used the word dump. Oh, here comes another big dump.
Pooping out votes. But you know what my question was? I want to speak to the like 40,000 or so people that voted for Warnock, but not Ossoff.
I know.
It seems weird that like you don't walk in and vote for either both Democrats or both Republicans. There have been elections where I could imagine that being the case like 30, 40 years ago, before the modern Republican Party sold its soul to evangelicals with Ronald Reagan. But the idea that you could walk in and think, I want David Perdue and Raphael Warnock, I don't see what you got there.
Well, but devil's advocate, could it also be that a lot of people were Warnock fans, and they only, like sometimes with SAG elections and DGA, if I know somebody, I only vote for one instead of 20, or 5 instead of 20. Is it possible that a lot of people voted for Warnock and nobody else? They just used, I
mean, yes, it could have been, but it's just fascinating in this environment with all the attention, the entire nation staring at Georgia, to be like, we did not vote for them pretty evenly. That's just
I was wondering also, do they have that? They have that one thing where you just vote straight Democrat. There were only three things on the ballot. I mean, 3 names on the ballot, or 6 names, or whatever. But it was thrilling. And then when Ossoff, I thought, okay, we're going to get one. That's what I thought. I thought for a while we're just going to get one, and then all of a sudden, bam, bam, bam. And what's really wonderful about it, it's the first African-American senator from the state of Georgia, and the first Jewish man from.
Absolutely. Yeah, we barely got to celebrate that before a bunch of white supremacist MAGA Trump supporters invaded the United States Capitol.
That was scary.
How's everyone doing? What was that? And I say it like that because we have to call things what they are. We have watched as Republicans and Republican candidates for years ago winked at white supremacy, winked at the David Duke and those people, winked through planks in the platform, and through this Trump era have just started coming out and saying things. Marjorie Taylor Greene, we've got Madison Cawthorn, we've got all of these people. It's that invasion to me looked like finally a literal representation of what has metaphorically been happening for the last 4 years. You look at the things Matt Gaetz says, look at the things Josh Hawley has said, that Ted Cruz has said. That was just the real live version of what they've been doing through rhetoric anyway.
You know what's scary about that? And I was thinking as that was all unfolding, and it had happened right in the middle of the first we saw them, gathering, but the storm happened when they stormed it, happened when they were in deliberations for, for Arizona, when they were in deliberations for Arizona. And it was interesting. They didn't get to the vote because, I bet even Ted Cruz was, shitting underneath his desk, shivering like a chihuahua. But I was fascinated that when they came back, the ones that remained after this horrible thing happened, 8 out of 16 of the senators bailed. They were like, no, we're out. We're out. Even Kelly Loeffler, I'm done. I lost. I'm done. And then what do I have to lose now? He's not going to get mad at me. And then the house did not lose that many. There were lots. There were lots.
Yeah. Well, but still on the invasion for a minute, thinking about what that said to so many groups of people, right? First and foremost, what it said to Black people and allies of Black people this summer that marched and protested and had police show up in riot gear, to have the DC police chief say they expected a free speech protest, not violence. The difference in the preparation for the way Black Lives Matter protests have been responded to in force and the way this was responded to. The video clips of Capitol Police just standing there as people walked in. And then when a reporter said, I'm a reporter, they said, oh, no one's allowed in. The lack of preparation, the lack of response, the lack of the kind of theatrics and violence we've seen against other kinds of protests. And then what it said to the rest of the world about democracy, about America, that we had all of our elected leaders standing there going through enacting the process of our Constitution. And then they all ran and had to hide in a room while other people tried to interrupt that process physically and violently into the building. And 5 people are dead.
5 people are dead. And I think that's what it speaks to. When you start, if I were running against Ted Cruz, I would say Ted Cruz helped murder 5 people. I mean, that's what I would do. And I think that I really do believe that they have tarnished their political careers, all of these people who have stood by Trump, because we have not, I mean, here's the deal with Twitter. It's getting bad for him. It's getting bad. What is he going to have? What's that one called? That alternative Parler. He's going to have Parler, and that's it.
But even today, Apple said they gave Parler 24 hours to clean up their own site, because they say people are posting there encouraging violence, planning additional violence. They said, you're not holding to your own terms, and we will kick you off of the store, the Apple Store, as an app that's available. So that's being targeted. But also, I was thinking about the woman who was shot, and what Republicans, what conservative grifters that make YouTube videos, what Tucker Carlson and conservative talk show hosts have done in lying to people, in fear-mongering people, and leading them down the rabbit hole of conspiracy theories to where we no longer even have a shared basis of facts. And I don't mean how we interpret them. We've always spun information and facts to fit a particular agenda, but just flat out lies. These people believe the election was stolen. There's a group of people that truly believe that, right beside the grifters who wanted to smear shit on the walls and take selfies on the floor of Congress, just like having a field day.
And sit in Nancy Pelosi. They just arrested that motherfucker. They're arresting them all over the place now. So, but here's what's also interesting. You talk about Tucker Carlson, who immediately went to that. It was Antifa impersonating MAGA, and that got so crazy that people were following down those rabbit holes so fast and believing that at all. And even when they were putting up pictures of the guy with the horns right next to Rudy Giuliani and identifying them, because they had already said, that MAGA would never, dress up like that. Yeah. But, you have to, someone wrote that.
Well, and there was a big, people mix conspiracy theory about this guy's tattoos that was wrong, but also they said, we didn't know. Everybody's known on social media for months. They had time to make merch. This wasn't accidental. This information was available. And it speaks to, because I want to bring it back as we talk about what Black people have been saying about our country, right? The last 5 months, the last 4 years, for decades and decades, since the Civil Rights Movement, since literally the Civil War, the experience of being Black in America, and how much this demonstrates the difference in the way their objections and their frustrations are responded to, that allowed this to happen. It seems great that the FBI, there's people out arresting a lot of these people now that they're back home in places, but that there weren't miles of paddy wagons waiting to load these people in as they walked, strolled.
It was organized. Yeah, and then the Trumps and stupid Donald and that Gavin Newsom's ex-wife dance, and Laura Branigan can't even put a cease and desist because she's dead to Gloria, just repulsive. It was repulsive, despicable behavior by so many people.
Well, and that it failed, on every level. It's like the number of people who have been thrown under the bus by Donald Trump, and that people continue to be surprised. Even these people that were led all the way down this garden path and then skipped merrily along it, they absolutely 100% are responsible for their own actions. I'm not taking that away. And then he came out and his quiet them down video was like, well, but we love you and you're special and go home. And then when he finally put out the one that basically seemed like an attempt to get his Twitter account back, they all felt betrayed. It's like you lose it. You have lost at every level.
He lost. My daughter Caroline, she follows all these conspiracy theories and she argues with them. And she literally was following. She said, "Dad, you cannot believe how many of them are turning on him now. You have betrayed us." So he lost a lot of his base through this vileness.
And I hope you're right about the Republican Party, but what we have to be holding people accountable for this, because those people who have been lied to, who have bought into those lies, and the disingenuous, cynical ones who are using that to make money, that will continue. They will find other people. They will follow Matt Gaetz or Josh Hawley or whoever. They will. Those people will be looking for other leaders if we don't find a central fact basis for all of us to communicate with each other. If we don't call this what it is, white supremacy, not just white privilege, fully white supremacy, to be able to stroll giggling into the U.S. Capitol building and steal a podium.
Yeah. And Emerson, can we just talk just for a second about the cabinet members like Betsy DeVos and Elaine Cho and of course a little bit further back William Barr, who then made a big statement about, you know what I say, fuck all of you, because he has been this man from the very beginning. He has done despicable, horrible things. Awful, awful, awful. For 4 years it's been going on. But the last 2 weeks, you're trying to, as you are a rat on this sinking Trump ship, you're trying to go, oh, no, not me. I'm not as bad as that. Fuck you. You are. And Lindsey Graham, you deserved that airport attack today. I hope that you can't go anywhere for like the next decade and not be yelled at and screamed at and told you are a piece of shit, because that's the truth.
Well, and the horrifying, delicious irony of lying to people, stoking their fear, stoking their anger, not like kind of misleading, full on lying to people. And it's like trying to walk a lion on a leash. As long as the lion is walking the same direction as you, it seems like you're walking that lion. But the minute you veer off, it eats your face off. And they have earned every bit of that now people on the left who've asked them to be accountable. Lindsey Graham, act like John McCain's friend that you once were at any point, please. And then to also lose the base because they still believe the lies you fed them. Yeah, that's just basic good old karma.
And it makes Jeff Sessions look like a man of morality and integrity with these.
But no. But no.
You know what I'm saying, though.
Of course, yeah. And I want to say, in holding people accountable, right, and holding everyone accountable, let me find the right video to share. I think it's this one. Nope, it's not. Sorry. The Log Cabin GOP, because our show is about LGBTQ news and nonsense. The Log Cabin GOP has said nothing about it. Today they tweeted about yay Roma Romney for winning re-election as GOP chairwoman. And there was fully on LGBTs for Trump, like a pride flag being waved in that audience. Like, we have to hold these people accountable in every aspect for their behavior in this.
Well, I have a big announcement to make. I got banned by Richard Grinnell this week. So job well done, Del Shores. You are banned by that motherfucker.
That is impressive. I mean, we'll have to get you like another puppet account or something for when he runs for governor of California. Because that's going to happen. Here's the one I was talking about. You can see in the background, see that pride flag? Yeah,
I do.
That is, there are people from every community present in this conspiracy theory group of invaders. And we owe it to Black people.
But here's why he got mad. I said, you know what? Shut up. You shut up, because he's on his Twitter saying some bullshit about we cannot condone violence, just like all of them. This is not who we are. We're the party of law and order. Fuck you. You were part of this. You were complicit, Richard Grinnell. And I said it, and I'm glad I got banned. I don't give a fuck. So thank you for those who I got to say what I had to say to him and got retweeted. So he at least read it, I hope. But yep. I'm so done with these people. I'm just done.
And again, like, not letting any of them walk away from this clean. You know, you don't get, sorry, Kayleigh McEnany, Betsy DeVos, all these people. What sort of mutant, omega level mutant camel were you that the straw that finally broke the camel's back was this?
And you know, in Kayleigh and Trump also, they came out in the last two press conferences. They seemed rather sedated, don't you think? And Kayleigh didn't even do her hair; it's just like straight. It's not even the Miss America pageant hair. I was like, girl, she's distraught. She's like, what the fuck did I step into?
But also, and those 8 senators you were talking about, and you know, it's that thing where like something isn't real till it's on your doorstep, right? Until they were actually potentially physically in danger. Because yes, there were grifters and there were trolls and there were conspiracy theorists. But did you see the photo of those 2 guys and one of them carrying the full-on flex wrist zip ties? You don't carry that if you're planning to take a hostage. So some people may have been like, ha ha ha, look at us LARPing along. And some people had a very different plan, and you walked in beside them.
And like using fire extinguishers, using fire extinguishers or weapons. I mean,
you know, a police officer
who died.
So, and I want to say,
I hope they get all of them. And thank you, TikTok. You know, TikTok is outing these people one right after another.
And then wrapping it all the way, right? Because there's so many things, confluence of things happening here. Even where they were all hiding together, members of the House and Senate where they were being protected, there's now video of like Democrat House members going around with masks and Republican House members like saying, no, I don't need that. Like, as they are all like together. So it isn't even just like things they're doing for the public to pander. They like really believe this is not a big deal and not a thing, even though we like had the highest death rate yesterday that we've ever had. Right? Well, like, so it is. There are now bonkers people in elected office, not just supporting them, that we are going to have to continue to deal with long after he is gone.
Yes. So
all right. That was a lot from us. Let me get through some of y'all's comments, because that, you know, we did ask, and then both of us, as we are wont to do, preached a number of sermons. So
did I hear any amen? Yes.
Both sides hate Lindsay. Bill back at Betsy. I wonder if Betsy will ask for a refund. She paid over $9 million for that job and didn't get to complete it. Maybe she could go back to school. You know, the ones that she's trying to ruin. Oh, and Jacob mentioned that guy that took the letter off Nancy's desk and posted. The best part is the stupidity of doing this. The people that did it for clout took photos, and that's how they're getting arrested.
And he just got arrested. Yeah, he's from Arizona. Not Arizona. I think Arkansas.
Yep. Oh, and that's what Todd said. I love that they posted their crimes on social media. They aren't the smartest. No, but it's funny, you know, stupid people are just as, if not more so, dangerous, because you can be led afield so easily. And we do have to continue with the social media companies being held accountable in some ways for the content that does roam freely. I have had to, in the last year, conservative people I know walk them through like why a 45-minute YouTube video was not true. Like, there really is accountability for just like letting people spout dangerous untruths.
You're better than I am. I don't have the patience. I just go, look, if you can't do your own research, your own diligent research, or you're so stupid to think that there's a basement in that pizza place, then you're just an idiot. And I cannot help you. I cannot help you. It infuriates me, but I cannot help you. And it really infuriates me when I know someone as a certain, and it changes my complete perception of them. And I tweeted this week. I mean, just like yesterday, I said, if you are still on the Trump train, that says a lot about your character, a whole lot. It always has, but it says more today.
Yep. Absolutely. Sorry, I was reading the comments and there was a weird trolling one.
Oh, is there a MAGA person in our show?
No.
Oh,
no, not I'm going to put it up. I just lost, just trying to understand. It was not well put together as a thought. Well, so it's a lot, and we all, it's a reminder that voting is not the end of our engagement in our democracy, right? We talked about that voting is just the first step in holding our leaders accountable, and any relief at the Biden-Harris administration arriving in less than 2 weeks is also a reminder that we have to hold their feet to the fire, all of our representatives' feet to the fire, to ensure that they act on our behalf and in the way that we want to. Voting's the first step. Being heard, being loud, and demanding that they serve us as the people is the next part of it, and holding all of accountability for all of this. I think a lot of them were beyond shaken that this was literally in the House. And so hopefully that will lead to some stronger stands on some important things.
All right. Well, shall we move into some lighter? We got some lighter stuff to talk about?
Yeah. What we do here is the LGBTQ News and Nonsense. So we will do some of those stories now for a little while. How about that, y'all?
Well, our good friend Leslie Jordan, he premiered the other night right after NFL, and it was Fox's on Call Me Kat. Very mixed reviews, but in that it was the highest rated and most watched comedy since, guess what, another Leslie Jordan show, The Cool Kids. So Cheyenne Jackson playing the straight love interest of Mayim Bialik was kind of fun. I watched the second episode last night and it was much better than the first episode. I thought the show settled, and I'm happy. And if you're in LA, look at the LA Times today. There is a huge feature on Mr. Jordan. So we're proud of him and we're happy for him.
Absolutely. Wanted to run for 7 years. And I get it. Mayim Bialik, Cheyenne Jackson. I mean, I just don't know how you aren't sexually attracted to him.
I don't either. I don't either.
And I put that with, yes, thrilled for them. Hope it runs forever. Cat Cafe, I can't go. I'm allergic, so I would not be able to.
They do eliminate some patrons.
But it's specific. Find a good niche and target it intensely rather than trying to please everybody, right?
Yes.
And then relatedly, because I wanted it fit with the Cheyenne Jackson thing. Bridgerton, I talked about how much I've loved. And Jonathan Bailey, who plays the eldest Bridgerton brother, there he is. I mean, good Lord. Also an openly gay man, like Cheyenne Jackson, playing a straight character, which we love. And he talked about to Ian McKellen, for attitude, and said, the most conservative conversations I've had about me being honest about my sexuality in this day and age have come from gay men in the industry. Oh no, you can't come out. You shouldn't really do that. They're either people who work in publicity, or there's been casting directors who have put the call into my agent to say, just so that you know, the way this is going to be sold is that it's a gay story written by gay writers for gay actors. So just by taking this role, this was at a stage where perhaps I was coming to terms with my own sexuality. I hadn't necessarily hidden it, but I've never not been honest about it. And certainly we've got a long way to go with representation, but I do love that at least two of our most top of the pyramid, white, cisgender, handsome leading men are getting to actually play those roles as well.
Yes, absolutely.
And then there was a second piece. Yeah.
No, I don't know if that's my new Yeti that's making that noise. I'm sorry. I just got close. Okay. All right.
And then the second piece of this story that was quite hysterical is Jonathan Bailey did an interview, I believe for a Scottish TV morning show, and TV presenter Lorraine Kelly showed a photo of him on set getting makeup on his ass for a sex scene. And for your entertainment, I want to play the clip and see if you can where she goes awry in what she says about this.
Now, we showed this photograph. Which now that's got to be one of the best jobs in the world. That's a wee lady who is sort of, I think they call it fluffing. Is that what they do?
I think they call it
fluffing. What they call it, Lorraine? I think it's called ice breaking. That was my first scene, and that was a lovely part.
Okay, so she called it fluffing. That getting makeup on his ass is called fluffing. Well, I would like to sign up for that job.
Yeah, it was like,
and then she did come back afterward and said, my phone's gone nuts. I just realized what a fluffer is. It's not that. It's not that. Clearly some friends in her life said, ma'am, that's where somebody
Lorraine.
Plump it up a little bit. It's like, it's so hard, right? If it's dangling, it's like you want to get to a quarter, but not quite to half.
Right. It's a delicate situation.
It's an art form.
Remember when we were shooting Sorted Lives, the series, and that one extra decided to fluff and he just didn't seem to know when to stop? And
But
I said,
I get it. Look, it is an art that I negotiate for my Instagram photos on a regular basis, obviously.
oh.
That's the rule, right? A quarter is plump, half is hard, half is semi.
Yeah.
That's too far.
Yeah.
You have to keep it in this range.
So you have to shoot those photos very fast.
John said fluffing was his old job.
Good for you, John. I'm so happy that you had that. It's now with quarantine, it's just put all the fluffers out of business.
I know it. It's like it's a lot of people have to do their own hair, their own makeup, their own lighting, and their own fluffing.
Yeah, you know what? It just really, I love that interview. If y'all want to watch the whole thing, it was really kind of wonderful with this Lorraine. He was talking about how safe it was. That there was the intimacy on the shows, and I don't think a lot of people know that. But when we were watching. Yeah, the intimacy coordinator. But we literally, when we wrote a sex scene on Queer as Folk, we would sit down with the actors in the sex scene, make sure that they were comfortable with everything. We would negotiate kind of the position sometimes and go, no, I don't think that's going to work. I think we could do this, and it would sell it more. So I guess it was not unlike porn at times where you have to play to that camera.
Yeah, and it's a real job, and it's become required on sets. Which is great because it ensures all the communication is done, both actors and director, and everyone is exactly sure of all of the events that will take place related to intimate moments. And so everyone can do their job and trust that everyone is clear on what's happening. And as Jessica said, I'm learning so much. Well,
Hi, Jessica. Oh my God, that's so embarrassing. Jessica Clinton is my daughter Rebecca's one of her best friends, born the same day. I babysat her, held her. I won't go to Jessica. I promise I'm not going to say what all those other old Southern people say. Well, I changed her diaper.
When you say I'm not going to say something,
I'm not going to say it about Jessica. The Southern people say it about, oh, I remember you. Anyway, all right, on to, I love you,
what
Jessica.
I was trying to do is say I'm learning so much, which we try to be educational here at the Dell and Emerson show. And we've reached the halfway point, which means it's time for a commercial break. Don't go anywhere. It's quick. We work hard to bring you an informative and entertaining show. And if you are enjoying it and have some money left over that you're not saving to pay taxes, Lord help me, I want to send us $1, $5, 10, 20, 50, 1,000, several thousand. You can send us a tip on Venmo at Emerson Collins or on PayPal to beardcollinsshores.productions@gmail.com. It is in the ticker at the bottom. Jessica is not mortified by this process either, Joe.
Okay. All right. Good. Well, we have a quick story about conversion therapy. Kentucky Youth Mental Health Protection Act proposed to ban conversion therapy for minors, which, as many of you know, Emerson and I have been on this for so long. It's one of our platforms that we continue to celebrate when anything like this happens. So Curtis Galloway wrote an article about his experience with it. His counselor blamed his father for working a lot when he was young and his mother for being overbearing. It's not true, y'all. It's not true. And his parents were told it wasn't working because he wasn't trying hard enough. Get rid of the gay affirming friends. And that was all his friends. He told being bullied in middle school caused this. Being bullied caused your homosexuality. And then this is like someone saw Sorted Lives that was conducting this conversion therapy, told to masturbate to images of women to rewire his brain. 10 years later, his parents, 10 years later, they finally accept him unconditionally.
I put that in. I love that you just read the bullet points. I put that in because it was so weird to think about how long ago you wrote Sorted Lives, and this thing that I think people watch Sorted Lives and Brother Boy go through with Dr. Eve thought of it as like some extreme caricature, and certainly Leslie and Rosemary and you all hammed up arts for comedy, but it's a very real thing that even 10 years ago, this boy was still being told literally the same thing by his own Dr. Eve. Like,
were you pointing me? to make the bullet points a little more conversational
Yes,
and the
the
way
whole
I
point of the bullet points that you asked for was that it's just like fragments and things, so you can create a natural conversation around it.
Well, I thought we were a little behind, so I was hitting those bullet points fast. I'm usually a little better at it.
I'm just like, y'all, we are trying. I hope you're liking this, because like actually being serious, we're trying to like keep the show, keep everyone feeling engaged in the comments, to make it a little easier, a little less time for us putting some of the stories together, because we have work things happening we can't tell you about. And I'm just being silly and having fun. But I hope you're liking. Hope y'all are having fun, because we are really enjoying it this way too.
Yeah, and we are wont to go off on tangents, and even with the bullet points, it could happen.
Unless I also went through conversion therapy, we know entirely too many people that have similar stories, and that is why so many. The Trevor Project's been working on this 50 in 50 states with that, so it's why we keep focusing on where that action is taking place, and it's great that it's happening in Kentucky. It's on its way. It's a lot of work to get it across the line. Now, for this next one, just sort of for my own amusement and share. What y'all know, I feel like we've discussed enough by now, how much I love the men-only resorts in Palm Springs. This is Indulge, one of my personal favorites among them, because it's like cheeky and a little nudie, but not like full-on porn in the afternoon, which is my preference. Well, it is up for sale in Palm Springs. And I got to tell you, I looked all week to see if I had friends that had $10.8 million so we could buy it and I could just move out there and be the Indulge manager.
Well, isn't that where we did the interviews with our buddy Scott Fullerton?
Yes, Scott Fullerton did his Left of Straights show out of Indulge for 2 summers in a row, was going to do it this past year, and couldn't, obviously, because of the pandemic and the lockdowns. But it was interesting. The guys, John Jackson and Sandy Miller, who've owned it for the last 10 years, it was first built in 58. It's very mid-century. People have loved what they've done with it, and they are making it a requirement of the sale that it remain a gay resort. And I love that. All World, one of the other big gay resorts there, was sold in 2019, and now it's a swingers resort. And I don't resent them, but there's plenty of places for heterosexuals that want to partner swap to figure out how to. You could do that at a Holiday Inn Express pool if you wanted to. Just be a little aggressive. We don't have as many spaces, so I love that they're requiring that it stay that with the new owners.
Right. Yeah, that's nice.
I love them. I mean, I have spent. That's where I take half my Instagram photos anyway. Bill said it was the first gay resort that he stayed at years ago. But I will tell you, related to Palm Springs, as of now, all of the gay bars and gay resorts in Palm Springs have survived the pandemic thus far. So I'll be able because it's my plan to be 85 years old in a caftan with my balls hanging by my knees, walking around one of those. I'd be one of those people you would tell, clothing optional.
Well, that's that. I feel like that a lot of that, they're all in that little on that strip and on arenas, and they really mine that street to allow people with tables outside during the pandemic. And those Palm Spring boys, they are not going to give up their liquor.
And Tad's out in Palm Springs. Hey, Tad.
Hey, Tad. To say hi to all my buddies. All right, let me see if I can do better on this so I can get a better grade from Emerson. The Destiny Christian Church of Assembly of God Church in Rockington, California. They've been holding these large gatherings during the pandemic, honoring, what's his name? Kirk Cameron. And recently they had this black tie gala on New Year's Eve where there were 375 congregants and a Ferris wheel. They had that Ferris wheel because it was legal to have this Ferris wheel because they are a church. And it was a wedding for the pastor's daughter. I'm a little confused as if it was that part of the reception afterwards. They go, okay, we're going to have punch and cookies and a Ferris wheel at the reception.
I can imagine that they got married on the Ferris wheel. That poor pastor was sitting in one of the buckets going, do you, idiot, take idiot to be your lawfully wedded idiot at our massless marriage ceremony with all these people? No.
So, a little group called Allies for Black Lives Placer County started protesting just right around the church because there was some racist and homophobic behavior from this church. And let's show this video This is what happened at the church, all in the name of the Lord.
Emma, your name bitch. You have a Bible verse in love? Look at all that love.
Yeah, what's that Bible thing on your back saying?
Don't touch me. What are you afraid of? I'm not afraid of confrontation. You came out here for confrontation, didn't you? We came out with love signs. Love signs. Love signs. This is sir. Let us love one another. First John chapter 4. That's not bad. Don't hate me.
I mean,
But the crazy of this whole story is now Destiny Christian, who was being attacked there, is saying that maskless individual, that woman, that awful woman, was not from the church. She was just some random that decided that she was going to take them on. And because they had tweeted about the protest, and LGBTQ and Black Lives Matter advocates will hold 2 protests near the Destiny Church. And obviously this woman just decided, well, I'm going to go down and I'm going to whoop some ass, with my big white ass. And
right.
So so the church is saying that they reject all forms of racism and hatred. However, in a paragraph later on their website, it says, we will not allow culture to reinterpret the timeless truth of the word of God. We will not be a church that stands by political correctness. So there's just flip-flopping, hypocrisy.
I love that their statements basically said, she's not with us, but we agree with her. Like, right. She's not one of us, but that's what we think. And we're sure glad that she did it. It felt like that scene in Saved where Mandy Moore throws the Bible and says, I am filled with Christ's love.
Yes.
Also, that sweet woman, you could hear the tremor in her voice. She's wearing a shirt that says protect trans kids. She's got a Bible verse on. She came out to protest, but not to have this kind of confrontation. And you could feel her desire to be present and stand up against this. And then her fear in response to this woman getting in her face. I was like, you are good, ma'am.
That was a tough ass woman. She's stalking. She's got.
Because otherwise, if she's not with the church, why'd she stop? You just drive past a protester and need to get up, ma'am.
It's just those people that are just driving around looking for trouble. See if I can find some trouble. Where's some trouble? Where's some trouble? Oh, that person ran that red light. I'm going to just honk at him.
Yes. And then just real quick, a celebration. Longtime MSNBC contributor and Pulitzer Prize winner Jonathan Capehart just got his own show, The Sunday Show with Jonathan Capehart. He's been guest hosting AM Joy, and he said, I'm hoping you understand just how meaningful this moment is for me. A big head boy from New Jersey with a dream and no roadmap, only the love and encouragement from my mom and family who patiently listened as I dreamed aloud, including an uncle whose kindness put me on the right path. Thanked his mom, his uncle, and his husband, Nick Schmidt. They've been married since 2017. And he said, my darling husband, Nick, who when the pandemic hit, jumped in to be my in-house producer, florist, barber, and makeup artist, is my fiercest champion. So just celebrating an out Black man getting his own show.
That's so beautiful. I like it too. That's one of my go-tos on the weekend.
Absolutely.
So, all right. And then in Oklahoma, one of my favorite cities, Oklahoma City, a bar, which I had never been to this bar called Partners. I thought we had hit all the bars in Oklahoma City. That was vandalized 2 nights in a row in a weird way. On December the 29th, they left and they found a car vandalized with soup. They said, let's just throw some split pea soup thrown at it. And then the next night they found something else that was all sticky all over the front door. And he said it was everywhere. We thought somebody got sick. And then once we got closer, we realized that it was blueberries. Well, maybe someone got sick on blueberries. The surveillance video caught a car slowing down for 10 seconds and throwing those blueberries out the window. Just threw a bunch of blueberries and driving off. That's an expensive vandalism. Blueberries are not cheap.
I love it. That's where you got. I love it. Yes, you are right. They are not. That is not a cheap thing.
I would buy a cart. If I'm going to vandalize, I'd go to the dollar store and get some eggs. That is so stupid to get rid of some good. Why?
It also feels not very well premeditated. It feels like somebody left Jason's Deli with a broccoli cheese soup and we're like, oh, and threw it out the window. And then the next night they were coming, and I don't, it doesn't feel like you really.
They
really
came out of
have to-
HEB. They were out of HEB, and they said, "You know what? These blueberries." So man,
As
organic.
Xander said, is it organic? I mean, organic blueberries would be even more expensive in waste.
I know it. I ordered some today, actually.
Jessica, superfood vandalism. I said, it's like how do you, it's awkward too to tell people. Said we might have had a sort of sad hate crime last night. We got souped and buried.
It's sort of, in my opinion, it's kind of weak. It's just weak.
Well, it's like my own personal, have I ever told you this story? Walking down the Cedar Springs. I know. Would you like it? I hadn't said anything about it. Have I told you this? How would you know?
Yes.
I was walking down Cedar Springs in my early, not totally out, walking to the village station in S4, parking down in the side streets by the Kroger, and walking past that gas station there, and a truck rolled down the window as it drove past, and somebody yelled "fag" and threw something at me, and I looked down, and it was a white powdered sugar donut. And not even full size. It was a mini.
I thought you were going to say, and it had a bite out of it.
I was like, the saddest hate crime that's ever been attempted. I mean, I had the moment of panic, right? Hearing the word "fag." And then I looked down to see what it is. And then I couldn't stop laughing because I was like, that is so dumb. You just bought those at that Walgreens or whatever down the street. You were chomping away on one of those 6-packs of mini powdered donuts and went, "fag." That's how I picture this blueberries happening.
Okay, this is not a hate crime because it was just a car rage thing. But I'm in the valley going off of Woodman Boulevard off of the 101, and this semi gets mad at me for getting in front of him, and I guess he thought I snaked him or something. We ended up side by side. This guy rolls down his window. What happened? Did a bat fly over you?
Oh, like the whole power blinked. It didn't go all the way, but it went down the middle.
Are birds flying? Are you just seeing things again?
No, I thought I heard the rapture.
Oh,
obviously, I'm not going to get taken, so I just thought.
Oh, yeah, someone else.
Right now, I wouldn't know for 4 days.
Same.
Sorry, you were saying.
I was saying that this guy rolls up beside me. He's above me, the truck above me. He starts chunking, and now at this time I had an Acura Legend, which was one of my first good cars. He starts throwing Coke cans. He must have had 20 Coke cans in his. They were empty, but he was just chunking Coke cans at me, and I was like, "Fuck! What do I do? My Acura."
He's probably just trashy and throws them in the floorboard, but I'm
That's what he did.
That this is a sad person on their way to recycle. Not that recycling is sad, but this is somebody I should recycle these and get some coins for the corn star, but I'm going to waste a couple of them on you.
It wasn't a couple. It was that was a long light. It was. Oh, yeah. It was scary.
Just sitting there staring and hoping and praying. Change. With the light change.
I was tempted to run it.
All right. Well, this is a weirdly appropriate transition out of that into a very serious thing related not to hate crime but to violence in our community. In North Carolina, a new ruling a week ago out of the Court of Appeals related to a case finally makes victims of domestic violence in same-sex couples protected by law in all 50 states. North Carolina was the final. The ruling came after a woman in a same-sex relationship was denied a domestic violence protection order under a North Carolina general statute that stated that only those in opposite-sex relationships can claim protection from domestic violence. It's really important because talking about domestic violence in same-sex couples sometimes can be hard, and studies show that it's just as prevalent in our community. People that perceive an equality in a relationship can sometimes have a harder time identifying that kind of violence. So ensuring that at least the government regulations are on the side of someone being abused equally is really important. The court ruled they violated equal protection of the 14th Amendment, as well as the equal protection and the due process clause as well. And taking back that Bostock decision we talked about all last year, they once again talked about the Bostock decision from last June in support of this decision. So an important subject, and certainly a subject in which we need to be ensure that people are treated equally.
Absolutely. Do you hear that? Where is that? Do you hear that oddness? Like it's a reverb or something? I don't know. Maybe. Okay. Well, this is a Reddit story, and we love Reddit. And there was this guy that before the pandemic he was straight, but now he is bi. And you go, well, how did that happen during the pandemic? We're not supposed to be doing anything. Well, he went to middle school with his friend, and they were who was bullied for being gay, but they became best friends in high school. They're still friends. And during the quarantine, he said the gay guy, his friend, started flirting with him a little, which was, whatever. But one night we were watching a movie and he kissed me. I enjoyed it, but I was confused. When we had sex that night, it was fucking amazing. So they've been sleeping together for months now during quarantine. I'm so jealous. And they play video games after they fuck. And it's been so much better with him because we both have a high sex drive, he says, which makes this even better. So I guess he's in his COVID bubble, this friend with benefits. He said, I would marry him today. He's the best thing that has happened to me. But we haven't made it official, and I just don't know how to ask him out. Well, you can't go out, sir. I've been trying to ask him out, but I just get scared because I've never dated a guy before. What should I do? And most commenters encouraged him to be direct and ask him. And if it sounded like they were, if things were mutual, then that was good. But they were already friends with benefits. And so win-win.
I love it because it's so like sweet and simple, right? This guy, they were friends in middle school. The other one was openly gay. They became best friends all the way through college. And now they just play video games and fuck. It is like a sweet little gay rom-com about a same-sex.
You're wrong. They fuck and then play video games. You got the order wrong.
No.
I thought he said after they
play
fuck.
video games and after they fuck.
Oh, I said they play video games after they fuck. I skipped a word. It's amazing how a word can make a difference.
Isn't it? I'd imagine there's a little bit of both, because you wear yourself out and then you can play video games for a while till you're ready to go again. I thought it was sweet too that here's this guy who's like, oh, right, I'm somewhere on the spectrum of at least bisexual, and this relationship I've had with somebody for a really long time actually now means something different, and it may have been the environment of quarantine that let him throw off any other considerations about it and really see it for what it was. And now they're just doing it like bunnies.
Good for them. Good for them.
John said that was similar to my first experience. I was a teenager and there was a snowstorm. He stayed over and leaned over and kissed me. I was shocked, but we were already best friends. I was totally in love.
Oh.
Jared wins. 2 gamers playing with each other's joysticks.
Yes.
Blair said friends with benefits. And we've been married for 10 years. I mean, it often starts that way.
Oh, I love it. I love it, Blair. Blair, aren't we going on a trip together or something? England. I don't have Blair's text. It's Instagram. I think it's London we're going to go to.
All right. One final. I saved the most amusing to me for last. There is a brand new children's show out of Denmark called John Dillermand. On the equivalent of the PBS or BBC in Denmark. It is a show intended for kids aged 8. It is 4 to 8. 13-episode animated show about a man with a penis so big and so flexible that hijinks ensue. In this photo, that's his penis, the candy cane looking thing, wrapped around the lighter fluid, I guess, being poured on the grill. Clearly, hijinks. The show description says Dillermand's genitals get him into embarrassing situations. How many of us can't relate to that? It can be used for good once he embraces that he is different. Episode 1, he uses it to walk his dog. In various episodes, it gets stuck, floating with it tied to balloons. He breaks a friend's vase with it, uses it to steal ice cream at the zoo. Sure. He plays badminton with himself and almost gets it clipped with the hedgers. Now, most people found it funny to teach kids about anatomy. It's popular with kids, but of course, some parents and conservatives are very upset.
It is. It's weird.
I laughed so hard. First of all, my greatest concern about this is don't lie to little boys. Can you imagine the pressure if you thought your penis was supposed to be able to do all that? I mean,
And be that big.
when I staffed at Boy Scout camp, we always had those one or two guys who would wrap it around their wrist by their waist and say, "Can you tell me what time it is?" and pretend like it was a watch. And I know there was a play called The Puppetry of the Penis, but this just seems a little beyond.
Were there really guys that could wrap it around their wrist?
Yeah, you take it soft to hold the head and wrap it around your wrist. Oh my gosh, the juvenile antics that boys at camp will get up to. But I just feel like if I had seen the show as a child and looked down at mine, I would have thought, I hope it's not supposed to be able to do that. You know, don't teach the children to be size queens.
And steal ice cream with your dick.
I mean, literally. I love that it's like, he has to learn that he's different. Yeah, because it's fucking huge. Rob said that show is a real size queen. I mean, Jigs said it's also retractable. Jigs is actually the one who sent me the story. I didn't find it in our regular places. Marshall said, well, if I could send you a photo of mine, I would show you a puppet trick. Now, you can certainly send those photos to people, but always get consent first before sending people your penis doing party tricks. You know, it's like you'd have there be that other one who'd hold it up by the leg and say, oh, look, a turkey leg. No?
Yeah, no.
Here's the thing, though. So I looked at that. We've talked about big dicks before, right? That's like, to me, an epic vacation penis. Now, I call it a vacation penis because penises that are really big are a nice place to visit, but you don't really want to live there.
I was when we were doing 6 characters in search of a play, and I talked about how that, you know, that guy that came up to my merch table and pulled out his dick and asked me to sign it because he said, because I said, well, to quote my favorite playwright, Tennessee Williams, I could initial it. I had a guy come up to me at the merch table after one of my shows, and he says, you could sign mine twice. And I said, oh, it's good to know.
I would like to test that theory.
I was like, here's my Sharpie.
They're like, okay, I'm ready. Jared said, when he stole the ice cream, did he suffer from shrinkage? I feel like given that it's retractable like a water hose or something, they probably didn't go that intensely into the specifics. But
he could grab the ice cream and then retract it.
Pull it back, snap it back, like go gadget penis. We have like 2 minutes left. We have reached the end of our content. Thank you huge to Michael Shane, Erica, to Jigs, to Art Gregory, Bob Bielenberg, John Kitchen, Paul Emery. Get some backlog for your tips and contributions. If you haven't sent one and you want to, you can send it on Venmo to @EmersonCollins or on PayPal to BeardCollinsShoresProductions@gmail.com. No obligation. We appreciate y'all showing up. Is everyone doing okay? Do you have weekend plans?
I do. I had last weekend off. It was the first time I hadn't taught in a really long time, and I didn't teach last weekend, just sort of a little recovery weekend from the holidays. And I'm anxious to get back into the Zoom rooms with my acting students on Saturday and Sunday. And that's all I'm going to go and mask. I'm now double masking and a shield, and gonna sit on the patio with my dogs and say hello to Rosemary and Newell at a very nice social distance outdoors because it's going to be warmer. All so right. That's all I have planned.
That's great. Well, and what about
you?
Well, you took it all. I'm just going to wrap them up. Michael's running a marathon, but what I want to say to everybody is, we need to pay attention and be involved in maintaining the health of our democracy, but also remember to take care of yourselves. Don't doom scroll forever. Now you couldn't put that ringer on silent. You knew you were doing a show.
You know the stress I was going through. I was on with Spectrum just trying to do this show.
Who is it? And seriously, y'all, take care of yourselves. We need to be engaged, but also make sure you take care of your mental health. I'm keeping news in stories on my phone. I'm not putting it on my television and watching it for hours and hours but we continue to support and call out our elected officials. But remember to take care of your mental health. It's bonkers insane, whether you're Black, a person of color, a Democrat, to watch what happened in the events this week and how our leaders didn't respond Do it. Take care of yourself while we continue to stay engaged going forward. Who was it?
It was Adam Schiff, not the senator. It was my friend Adam Schiff, who has seen our show, so I'll have to scold him about not watching the show today.
That's right. Nobody that was calling you could have been watching.
That's right.
I appreciate all of you who do tune in. Thank you so much for your support, your contributions. And we'll be back on Tuesday. And then send us topics, stories. Thank you, Jigs. If you see something, send it to one of us in a message of some kind by Monday afternoon. We'll put stuff on the show that you want to talk about.